it's Alice, and today we're gonna do another video all about book releases I'm excited about. So I did one of these earlier this year and I sort of covered the first part of the year, and then now I'm gonna cover the rest of the year, so July until December. By the way, I apologize if you can hear any background noise in this video. There is I don't know, someone in my street is having a party, I think. They're playing really loud music and they're wooing quite a lot and having a good time. Probably because it's summer and it's really hot, and I've sort of been waiting for them to calm down, and it doesn't seem like they're going to. So we're just gonna film this anyway, and hopefully you can't hear that much of it. We've got loads of books to go through today, so we're just gonna get started, and we're gonna start with books coming out in July, so this month. And the first one is The Beautiful Island Queen by Vanessa Riley. And this cover is amazing. Like, I love it so much and I absolutely have to get it. This is a historical fiction novel, and I think it's based on a true story, and it's about this woman of color who got out of slavery and ended up becoming one of the wealthiest and most powerful landowners in the colonial West Indies. And I think the story starts off with her on this tiny island in the Caribbean, and she was born into slavery, and it's all about her story and her journey of getting out of that life. And I just think it sounds amazing, and the cover is amazing, and I absolutely I have to get this one. Secondly, we have got a book that I think a lot of people are excited about, and it is Survive the Night by Riley Sager. Now, I've read one book by this author, and I have a book on my shelves waiting to be read as well, and I really want to read this. It sounds really good. It's set in the 90s, I think. It's like a mystery thriller, and it's about two people who I think go to the same school, but then they're going home for whatever reason, and they're from the same area in Ohio. So they decide to ride in a car together, even though they don't really know each other. And then I think one of them might be a serial killer. I don't really know, but it sounds fantastic and very creepy and mysterious. Another mystery thriller that's coming out is For Your Own Good by Samantha Downing, and this is about a teacher who wants nothing more than for his students to do well, and he really wishes that people would focus on that, and that parents would leave him alone, and that his colleagues would stop bothering him, and that people in general would stop asking him where his wife is because no one has seen her for a while, which sounds very suspenseful and mysterious. Then we've got something a little bit different, and it is She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. And this is like a fantasy book, I think, and it says it's a mix between The Song of Achilles and Mulan. And that sounds pretty amazing. I think it's historical fiction fantasy. I think it's set in like China in 1345 or something, and China is under Mongol rule. And we meet this family who's quite poor, but all of these children in the family are destined for different things, and that's all I really read about this book, but it just sounded a little bit different and kind of interesting. I don't read a lot of fantasy, but this one intrigues me. Back to the mystery thriller genre, we have Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby, and I've read some early reviews for this on Instagram, and it sounds amazing. It's about two fathers and two murdered sons, and I think both of the fathers are ex-cons, and they get out of prison, and even though they don't have a lot in common, they sort of band together in their desire for vengeance, which sounds fantastic. Moving on to August, I have got 3 books that I want to mention, and the first one is The Woods Are Always Watching by Stephanie Perkins. And this is like a thriller, horror-y type story, I think, and all I really know is that it's about 2 women who go backpacking into the woods, and something goes wrong, and I think they cross paths with a serial killer or something. That's all I really know, but I love, like, scary stories set out of the woods, and I do like a good serial killer story, so this sounds intriguing. Then we have got another fantastic cover, and it is Velvet Was the Night by Silvia Moreno Garcia. And this is like a historical fiction mystery novel, and it's set in Mexico City in the 1970s, and it's about this woman who disappears under mysterious circumstances, and she has led this secret life as a radical, and I think whoever starts looking for her ends up in this like secret underworld of politics, and it's really dangerous. And I think the person who ends up like looking for her is her neighbor or something. Next, we have got In the Country of Others by Leila Slimani, and this is once again historical fiction, and it starts off in France during the Second World War, and it's about this French woman who falls in love with a Moroccan soldier, and after the war, I think they settle in Morocco, and the story is all about war, and as the title says, living in the country of others. In September, I've got 5 exciting books on my list, and the first one I am super excited about, and it is The Man Who Died Twice by Richard Osman. This is the second book in the Thursday Murder Club series, and I read the first one earlier this year, and I thought it was just delightful. And this series follows a group of pensioners who live in this idyllic retirement village, and they're sort of like amateur sleuths, and it's just wonderful. Next, we have got Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune, and this is like fantasy or paranormal, I don't really know, but it's about this man who dies and the Grim Reaper comes to collect him, but then they don't go to the afterlife right away, they go to this like little village, and in this village there's a tea shop, and the man who runs the tea shop is like the ferryman who helps souls cross over, but then I think the person who just died falls in love with the ferryman. I don't really know. It sounds kind of weird, but also kind of great. Yet another mystery thriller we have got is Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney, and I don't know a whole lot about this book. I just thought it looked interesting. It's sort of like a domestic thriller, I think, and it's about this married couple who go away to Scotland for a weekend to sort of work on their marriage that is kind of falling apart. And then there's something about dark secrets, and it maybe doesn't go that well. I don't really know, but I love things that are set in Scotland, and I do love a good domestic thriller. Next, we have got yet another great cover. This one is really creepy, and the book is called Summer Suns by Lee Mandelow. And this is about 2 guys who are best friends, and they're almost like closer than brothers. And then one of them leaves to go to school somewhere else, and his friend is supposed to join him after a couple of months. But before the friend gets there, he has committed suicide, and that makes the other friend sort of delve into his life, and it turns out that his family's really messed up and he was into some really bad things, which sounds intriguing and wonderful. I do love a good book about like friendship, but then also like secrets and bad things. Then we have got a new book coming out from Sally Rooney, and it is Beautiful World, Where Are You? And to be honest, I don't know barely anything about this book. I just put it on the list because I read Normal People and I really liked it. I think it's about a group of like 4 friends or something. I don't really know, but I'm excited to try it out. Another 5 books are coming out in October, and the first one is The Death of Jane Lawrence by Caitlin Starling. And again, this one has a great cover, and this is like historical fiction, but it's like gothic, which sounds amazing. And it's about this woman who decides that the best thing for her is to find a man to marry who will allow her to keep herself occupied with her work. And she finds someone who will sort of do this with her, so it's sort of like a marriage of convenience, but he says it's on one condition, and it's that she never visit his like family manor or something. And then honestly, I'm guessing she ends up going there and weird things happen. It sounds great, and I love a good like gothic historical fiction. Then we have got a novella that I just thought sounded great, and it is Flowers for the Sea by Sin E. Rocklin. And I don't know a whole lot about this. I didn't look into it too much because it's a novella and it's probably really short, but I think it's about these survivors of a flooded kingdom who are on an ark or something. And apparently this is kind of gothic and horror-ish, and I just thought it sounds really interesting. Next, we have got another thriller, and it is Comfort Me with Apples by Catherine M. Valente. And I have read a couple of books by this author, and I really like her writing style, so I think it'll be interesting to read a thriller by her. And this is about, you know, a couple who are married and they're perfect for each other and everything is just perfect. But then, you know, it isn't, because the husband is away a lot and there's a basement that the wife isn't allowed to go into, and then the neighbors start getting weird and things just get weird, and it's probably not as perfect as one might think. Last of the books from October, we have Midnight in Everwood by M.A. Kuzniar. And what drew me to this is that it says it's for fans of The Bear and the Nightingale, which is a book that I loved. And this is like a historical fiction fantasy retelling, and it's a retelling of The Nutcracker, I think. And it's about this woman or young girl or whatever who loves ballet, but she's gotten to that point in her life where she has to like take her place in society, so she has to give it up. But then this mysterious stranger appears, and then there's some magic, and that's all I really know. We're nearing the end here. We have got 2 books for November and 1 for December, and the first one is, and I don't know if I'm saying this right, but I think it's Chouette by Claire Oshetsky, and this sounds really weird. I haven't looked into it that much because I just saw the cover and I was like, ooh, that looks interesting. And it's the kind of book that I don't want to know too much about, but I think it's about this woman who gives birth to a small broken-winged child, whatever that means, and it just looks weird and interesting and kind of dark. Second to last, we have Within These Wicked Walls by Lauren Blackwood, and what intrigued me about this is that it's a retelling of Jane Eyre, and it's about this young woman who works as an exorcist, and she goes to people's houses to get rid of the evil eye, and then she ends up working for someone named Rochester, and in Rochester's house there's a lot of stuff, and then I think there might be a curse, and that's all I really know, but it sounds kind of interesting. Lastly, we have got 1 book for December, and it is Beasts of Little Land by Johea Kim, and this says it's an epic tale about love and war and redemption, and it's set against the backdrop of the Korean independence movement. And I think it starts off in 1917 or something like that, up in some snowy mountains where we meet a family, and one of the young girls of that family is sold to a courtesan school, and I think we just follow her for several decades, which sounds amazing, and also this cover is fantastic. Okay everyone, that was a lot of books, but we have finally made it to the end, and I would love to know if you're interested in reading any of these books, or if there's a book that I didn't mention that you're really excited about that's coming out soon. As usual, links to my Patreon and other social media will be in the description if you're interested, and I will see you soon. Bye!